straight into the room.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. I had a little trouble with my browser, but I think we're ready to go. We're just a few minutes after the hour, and I see that you should be able to see now that I'm sharing my screen. Let me just size it correctly so it fits nicely inside of the Meet Echo window. And still not there. Let's see if we can do some changes here. Okay, there we go. A little bit better. There, nice. Okay. So welcome and thank you for coming to the test session for the IETF 108 online meeting. This session is intended to provide you a, there should be sound. I'm looking at the chat, Ben. Can anybody hear me? Okay, fantastic. Yes. Thank you. And I think we just had an example of how you can send audio without permission. So that's useful sometimes. I'm glad it worked. This is, like I said, this session, the goal of this session is just to get everybody up to speed on Meet Echo so that we have productive sessions at IETF 108. And I have a set of things that we're going to run through towards that goal, but please feel free to shout and let me know if you have any questions along the way. You can type that in chat or send audio. And we'll be testing out some of the things, some of the features. So like I said, this slide sort of shows the general flow of the session. There should be plenty of time for questions and discussion. I wanted to just say that this is the last of the scheduled test sessions, and we received a lot of feedback, and the Meet Echo team have done a lot of work to incorporate that feedback and update the Meet Echo experience that you are having this today, and it's been really great to see those changes. Let me go through the slides here. Just as an example here of a sharing screen, this is the NoteWell. I'm not quite sure if this session is covered under the NoteWell or not, but let's just say it is. But this is an example of how the NoteWell will display in the shared area of the screen. So just real quick, and again, a lot of this is covered in the guides, both the participant guide and the chair guide. But basically, Meet Echo works with any WebRTC-enabled browser. It turns out that the browsers work a little bit differently, and the desktop browser or laptop browser is definitely a better experience. The Meet Echo isn't optimized for mobile browsers at the moment. So yeah, basically all you need is a WebRTC browser. You do need a microphone and camera to share those media streams. And in terms of bandwidth, I think the expectation is that there'll be maybe 3 or 4 people sending video at any one time. So a megabit per second or 2 should be sufficient. But there are actually controls, I think, that you can use to pause video to tune bandwidth. And the Meet Echo folks have actually put together a really nice video that I'll be sending a pointer around to probably tomorrow, so probably in about 12 hours or so. Yeah, so I just catching up on chat. Okay, and I see some old friends here. That's great. Yeah, so joining sessions. Again, this is documented in the user guide, but it should be pretty straightforward. Hey, Suresh. It should be pretty straightforward. Basically, a data tracker login gets you into any IETF 108 meeting session. And if you're the chair for that session, you'll be put into the session in that chair role. So you just log in, use your Data Tracker login, and you're in the Meeteco session for whatever session you're looking to join. And if you're a chair for that session, then you join us in chair role. We're recommending that you try to join the sessions a little bit early, so like 10 or 15 minutes early, just to make sure everything's set up and you have a chance to sort out the screen sharing as I did at the beginning of this session. And it's a great question. How does it handle co-chairs? Well, every chair, every identified chair in Data Tracker actually has chair privileges in the Meeteco session. So that's that's how it works. And so any identified chair can handle all the chair responsibilities. And I'll show you a screenshot of what that looks like as we go through some of the actions. The other thing to say is that you'll see that ADs, area directors for chairs, for sessions, will also have chair privileges in those sessions for which they're area directors. And I think it's true that the IETF chair and IRTF chair have special privileges for the sessions that they should have privileges for. But for sure, you'll see in the participant list, you'll see their role as a in IRTF chair or IETF chair. One other note on the participant list, we're getting a little bit into the tour ahead of this, is that when you join a session from a Jabber room, and we'll talk more about this later, when you join the chat for a session from a Jabber client, you'll be listed as a Jabber user in the participant list. So in the list for this session, the first person I see listed as a Jabber user is the name is MNM. Not sure who that is, but that's who I see listed, and you can see a few others as well. So we'll talk more about that as we go around the tour. Yeah, so are there any questions so far? We're running through things pretty quickly. Any questions about the requirements or how to join a session? Okay, I don't hear any questions. I don't see anything in chat. So just a real quick tour. So starting in the upper left-hand corner with the IETF logo, you can see the logo and the meeting number, and also you should see the session name. So this session happens to be named Hallway, and that session name actually is also indicative of the chat, the XMPP group chat, or the Jabber room that is represented in the chat window within Meeteco. If we move to the right, you can. Oh, I'm sorry. For a moment, let me just stop there. Just beneath this, the room name, you should see your own name and the role that you're joining the session as. And if you're speaking, that block will also be green to indicate that you're speaking. So yeah, so I see Braun making some suggestions, and I think some of those changes have been made, and we'll run through them. I think you'll see them demonstrated here. So, for example, one of them is that underneath your name, when you send audio and video, you'll see a bar graph. And Braun, I see you in the queue, so I'll accept your request to send video and audio just now. Please go ahead.
So yeah, I'm now. I just need to approve my video, but yeah, okay. So I'm now sending audio and video, and I can see the stop signs there. Now, if I show you what I see, I don't know if I can easily. I guess if I click, can I share screen as well? Maybe I can show you this screen.
Oh, right. To share a screen, the person who's sharing the screen first has to stop the screen. So I will stop sharing my screen, and then I'll accept your screen.
Yep, and then hopefully I can share.
Then you'll have just so that you can, you have the chance to pick which screen you'd like to share.
Okay, there you go. Yep. So I can see those icons have changed, but now I have a stop sign next to audio. I also have a raise hand for audio symbol there, which has swapped. So the play one has turned into this, but there's still a raise hand for audio as well. and the video and the screen sharing icon you can see.
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay, if I mouse over them here, you can now see them at this level. So that is quite weird, and that popped there. That had the stop sign on it before you accepted me, and then the stop sign popped over to where the play sign was, and that one came back to saying raise hand.
Yes.
It's all usable, but it's not. I can see people getting very confused with this who haven't used this before, and everyone is going to be someone who hasn't used this before. Next week, 1,000 people all at once.
Well, we've had actually quite a good turnout here, but I hear what you're saying. I think just to say that I think the controls have been updated based on the feedback, and part of that is to make it more clearer that you're actually speaking, as you can see by the green in your name and the waveform underneath your name. And also, I think the icons stay in this; they don't move around, and they change color to indicate whether you're sending or not. So. Yeah, so for sure, further refinements or suggestions about further refinements are always welcome.
I think it is very late to be making changes now just before we hit the meeting. But the one thing that you can't see here that I think was something that would have been very valuable, if you drop my video, anyone who's looking at the chat can't see who's talking other than the video.
If I drop your video, yeah,
Yep,
okay.
So you drop.
Yeah, that's understood. And
you've dropped my screen, not my video.
Oh, so I did. Look at that. My bad. Okay. Now I dropped your video.
Yep.
Yeah,
but and obviously you need to reapprove my screen if you were going to bring that back.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So now got to find the screen again. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no way to see here that I'm talking for anyone who is not me. If they're looking at the chat, so you've got a choice of one or the other still.
Yes, that's right. And as I see in chat, yeah, this is a change that would have just is not possible before IETF 108 at all. And there are some tips for people who would prefer to be able to see both the participant list and the chat at the same time, and we can talk a little about those. But they're also documented in the guides, the MeetEcho documentation. So.
Cool.
I'm going to drop your screen right now, Bron.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
I'll drop my sound too. So
that actually has taken us quite far into the whole demo, but it did point out some subtleties that I think are important to cover. So thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen again, and I will choose the one I want to share. There we go. So we're back to that. Yes, that's a really good point, Francesca. One of the things that we were going to sort of skipped ahead because we sort of got out of sequence, at least in my notes, is that the queue, like the mic management, the queue or the mic experience is similar to in person. Where it's requested that speakers state their name and any affiliation they'd like to, because we'll need it for the audio stream for sure. And if people aren't sending video and multiple people have the permission to speak, it may not be clear to everybody who doesn't already know their voice who is speaking. So yeah, so it's basically the in-person protocol for the mic line just carries over to the online experience. So I'm going to real quickly just pick up on the tour again, just because then it'll give us a common ground for going through some of the other functions, which we definitely want to test. So in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the different views, like a series of rectangles that'll give you some different views, presentation view, gallery view. Four I really want to point out are that if you click on the thing that looks like a pad and pencil, that'll show the note-taking, the shared notepad for this session, and you can open it and from Meetico type into the shared notes or see the shared notes right away. All of the meeting materials for the session are available through the folder icon, and you'll see the tooltips on the left side of the this row of icons, so you know what you're clicking on. For this session, it turns out that we're using 106 materials just because there aren't 108 materials yet, but for each session, it will be the materials that are associated with those sessions in the data tracker. The eye icon gives you a quick tour of Meetico if you need a refresher. The bell icon will help you set settings. By default, notifications about chat are off, but you can turn them on. Similarly for people entering the queue. So then the last one I just want to point out is the door on the very right. If you click on that, you will leave the room. So please don't do that now. But if you're in a session you need to leave, you can click on that. And that's a good prompt for mentioning that it's not possible to join a meeting, the same session from two different browser windows, even if they're different browsers. But it is possible to join two separate sessions from different browser windows. What will happen is if you try to join from another browser, the same session from another browser windows, that the first session will just will end. I see a lot of chat in the I see a lot of chat about opening separate windows, and I see Glenn asked a question. Let me just follow up on that. You can't join from a second computer because your presence in the room is tied to your data tracker login. So as soon as you log in from another window, wherever it is, using that same data tracker login, you will leave your previous participation. There are some questions about second windows, and in the chair documentation, there are notes about if you have a preference to have different views or arrange your desktop differently, you can use the links in the data tracker agenda to open things like the Jabber room or the XMPP chat room or the meeting materials window or the shared notepad for the session in separate applications or separate windows. So that's definitely something that you can do if that's how you prefer to arrange your workspace for the session. Yeah, so going around just to the lower right, you see the audio refresh. That helps if for some reason audio gets disconnected. You can click on the swirling arrows there to try and reconnect, and then there's a usual slider for volume, and then the indication that it's recording. Which sort of brings us around the window to the Meetico logo on the lower left, and the vertical column with the 3 different tabs, which I'll jump into now. Let me just check, make sure I've gotten everything. Oh, yeah, of course. The center of center of the screen in the presentation view, you'll see is actually where the shared materials appear. So that's where the sharing appears, and as Braun ably demonstrated, or I forgot to mention before sharing Braun's screen, you can only share one screen at a time. So you need to stop sharing, or the person who's sharing a screen needs to stop sharing a screen before the next person can start sharing the screen. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So there's a question about the participant list, and we might as well get into that now. So I think the first thing I can say is that everybody's seems like everybody's figured out the chat, and to show that you can also joined the chat via the Jabber client, and the answer to Tim's question is yes, and we will demonstrate that later in just a bit. And the second question I see there is about the labels, the role labels underneath people's names. So yeah, Mitoko just indicates that they're part of the Mito team. So I see, just on a glance, I see Alessandro at the top, who's also joined, by the way, as a Jabber user via a Jabber client. So, and the Jabber users are people who have joined via Jabber client. Oh, I see Paolo. And people who are, the participant label are people who have joined via web browser to Mitoko. Great. Yeah, so Glenn has one more question about sharing screens. And with screen sharing, what you can do is you can choose to show your entire screen, or at least in Firefox and Chrome, you can choose your entire screen, or you can choose to share individual windows. So, for example, I have multiple PDFs open, but I'm only sharing the window with this the slides for this session. In this instance, I'm not sharing the other slides. I see a question about opening CodiMD separately. Well, in general, what you can do is find the session, the link to the notepad in the data tracker agenda with the exact same icon that you see up here in the upper right, sort of a pad and a pencil. But yeah, but for this session, I'm not sure that there's the hallway link in there on the data tracker agenda. Yeah. I think you can try opening. I believe that you can open any notepad for any session on the agenda already, because the links are already active. So yeah, you might try that. Oh, can people still hear me? I see my audio is sending. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, so Christian, I don't think there's a notepad. Oh, there is a notepad, but I don't know how to find it outside of the Mitoko interface. I'm sorry to say. Maybe somebody else who's more familiar with it knows. Huh.
So I wanted to test my mic too. Does this? Yeah, it looks like it's working. Last time, the last test I tried, it didn't work with the AirPod mic, so it looks like it is now. So that's
okay. Good. Could you state your name, please?
Christian Hops.
Oh, Christian. Oh, Hops. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's working out. Great.
Yeah. One of the things I am having some problems with the CodiMD though. When I clicked the in session one, with the notepad with the pencil. And when I clicked that, I'd click something inside there, like a double pane, and it took me to some help page. I can't get back to the notepad now. It's just sitting like in a blank intro and history. So I guess I guess it'll work still if for the ones that have an agenda link where you aren't dependent on this, but I don't know how to get back to the pad.
Yes. Well, I'm not quite following because I don't see what you're seeing, but maybe we can sort that out in a little bit. We're going to test out, hoping to test out the queue, and you could share your screen as that. Yeah, great. So I'm going to show my screen now, just to as we go through the next section here, just to sort of demo some of the actions, and we'll get this funhouse mirror effect that we also saw in bronze screen. That's just the recursive nature of the screen sharing. But let me see. Let me do that now. Okay. So you now see the screen that I see and if you're in the presentation mode, you can see in the middle the funhouse mirror effect. You can see that I'm able to, as chair, a chair is able to send media without asking permission. If I stop my video, I can simply press play and my video will restart. I wanted to see if anybody wanted to has any comments, might practice just joining the queue to see what that looks like from the chair perspective, so people have a chance to try that out. Is anybody willing to step up to the mic? Oh, hey, great. Kyle, great. So I'm going to accept your audio, and how are you doing this evening? Please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you now.
All right.
Fantastic.
I don't really have anything to say. I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I have to say it looks pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised at how functional it seems. So that's supposed to be a compliment, not a
yeah. Well,
let me switch feet. So
okay. Well, thanks for coming to the session and thanks for trying things out. I appreciate that. Great. Thank you. Jim, I see you're looking to share video. I just wanted to mention another thing is that all the media streams are independent so that you can choose which media you want to feed you want to share. But video does not necessarily imply audio. So if you'd like to also speak, excellent. Hey, Jim, I just want to check, to make sure that you also want to share video. Is that true?
Sure, why not?
Okay, great. So your video should appear, and yes, great, excellent.
Okay, am I there? Oh,
You're there.
I can't really see myself, can I? So.
I think you should appear.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm just. Where would I see my own video?
You should appear in the right-hand column of the MeetEcho screen if you're in the presentation view.
I was in the. I've got too many modes going on here. I'm in CodeMD right now, so.
Okay.
Get out of that. Right. There I am. Okay. And yeah, I'm looking a little bit off center because I've got I'm using another screen, but okay. I'm really impressed by the media quality here. I mean, everybody looks and sounds very crisp, much better experience than a lot of conferencing things. So we've got a few UX things, but those are fixable and work around. That's all.
Great.
Thanks.
Well, thank you. And I will stop your audio and video. And one thing I wanted to point out, just as we go through, and I'll work through the list. Thanks for everybody for jumping into the queue. Is that you can see that the chair can either accept or decline media streams from people in the queue. And the other thing to say is that people are listed in the queue area of the participant list here in the order in which they join. So it's, again, sort of equivalent to the person who got to the mic first is at the top of the list. So so I'm going to accept audio from AC. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, it's AC.
Yeah, fantastic. Would you also like to send video? Is that true?
Sure, yes. Go ahead.
Great.
So in terms of meeting management, is the best way to do it to put the slides up in full screen mode and share the screen?
I have found that the thing to do is to not do full screen mode for the slides. If, for example, if you're presenting them as PDFs, but rather to size the window of the application you're sharing them in to sort of fit within the MeetEcho window that you're sharing. So, for example, if I well, I don't know how exactly to do this. So the slides that I was sharing previously were not full screen. So
okay, but you were sharing your screen. You had them. You were displaying them in preview or some application.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It was a window within the app. So it was an individual window within the application. So you can pick which window you want to share.
Okay, thanks.
Fantastic. Great. Well, I'm going to say thank you and goodbye. And stop your screen, and we'll go to Tim next in the queue. Tim, please go ahead.
Oh, hey, Greg, I actually put a note in chat. You should try to, can you decline audio for someone in the queue?
Yeah.
I was going to have you decline me just to sort of see how it sort of went. Practicing for DSP, right?
You want to hop back in the queue, and I'll grant you your wish. And okay, there we go. Get back to this, and we'll decline. So that's how that works. There are two things I wanted to point out, details, because I noticed this at the moment. Again, this is in documentation, but the little window that you see with the gray and white profile there, and you can see that my name has next to it a picture of me. Those are populated by the Gravatar service. Again, it's in the MediaCode documentation that's available on the IETF or from the IETF 108 webpage. And the other thing that I wanted to point out is that it's possible, and you will see this now, the little rollover chat is, it's an individual chat to the participant. It isn't saved in the room's Jabber logs at all. So it's just, that's an option to connect or to text someone directly within MediaCode. But with that, I'll accept the audio from Rashad. Oh, no. It looked like he jumped out, or maybe I pushed the wrong button by accident. Sorry if I pushed the wrong button there. Please rejoin if you'd like to speak. Okay, so now this will be an example. I can sort of jump ahead of Pete. Thank you for your patience, Pete. Please, go ahead.
So the question I had wasn't clear to me how to share. So I don't think I've seen you sharing how to share a particular document. From my view, I could not see that.
Okay.
And then a related question I think I saw in Jabber was when there's two chairs logged in, do they both have the same access? The same privilege in terms of allowing people or cutting or rejecting? Yes. Okay, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, chairs. Anybody who's identified as a chair in Data Tracker for a session will have chair privileges in the session.
Okay, thank you.
Great, no problem. Thank you. Pete, please go ahead.
Well, I asked in the chat, but I didn't see an answer. If you've got two monitors, can you share one and not the other, or are you sharing the entire screen real estate?
That's a great question I don't know the answer to. Maybe Alessandro does.
Yeah, maybe I can answer this. As far as I remember, Chrome does allow you to share just one screen, but Firefox doesn't. But I'm not 100% sure. I should double check.
And do we know about Safari?
Safari, the only possibility with Safari is to share your whole desktop and your whole screen. And actually, if you have multiple screens with Safari, the screen that gets shared is the one where your Safari window is in that moment. And there is no other option.
So probably I want to go to Chrome is what you're saying.
Okay.
Notifications from Pornhub.
I didn't catch that, but that's probably okay. Great. Well, that's a demo of the queue, how the queue works, and I think we've touched on pretty much every possibility there, including the possibility where someone who's not in the queue speaks. So that's again an example of how it is possible to speak even if you're not in the queue, or at least to send audio. Yeah. I see Christian. So Christian, please go ahead.
Hi. I don't know. Are you there?
Hello. Yes, please.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. It's weird when you accept my audio, the fidelity like completely changes. You know, like the audio, the sound, the timbre sound changes. Anyway, I put my question in the chat, or it was more of a comment. You said when you're sharing slides that you sized it to the Meet Echo area, but isn't that depend on your screen and and how big your area is?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't played with it that much. I will stop sharing my entire screen and just show you. Well, maybe I'll show you my entire window if I can do that. Hold on.
Because like you're right now on mine, it shows probably 3/5. It's 3/5 of the square is what you were sharing.
Yeah, I suspect that it's sort of sized by some dimension. So like and then your view of it resizes. So yeah.
This was just a follow up to what AC was saying, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what it looks like now in the current window size that I have for preview. And if I change my window size for preview, then my document will auto size differently. You can see that it changes the view in MeetEcho.
I see what you're saying. You're saying inside your window, it's changing the PDF size.
Yes.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Okay. Great. I'm going to take a peek at chat. Yeah, and I see Al has asked to speak. Please, Al, good to see you, or good to hear you. Al, please, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, yeah, finally, it asked me again whether it was allowed to access the microphone.
Let me pause you right there, because this has come up in previous sessions. I'm guessing you might be using Firefox?
Yes.
Okay, so when you first share one of your media streams, I think it's possible, at least for audio and video, there's a checkbox where you can say sort of grant permission, continue to grant permission, so you won't be prompted every time in a session to grant permission to share.
Okay. Well, so anyway, now I've got it. Rashad asked a question which I still haven't seen you demonstrate, and that is the buttons you press to share your desktop in a demonstration that we can see.
Oh,
Thanks.
That's a really good point. Yes. Here, I will share. I will share my screen. And one thing I want to say is that we're working out a way for chairs to join a session in the chair role, so that you can join a session and try things out like this. So these buttons up here are, sharing the media sharing controls are pretty much the same, I think, as the participants. The difference being that instead of raising a hand, I can just send. So if I will stop video, you can see I don't have a hand to raise to share video. I can just send video, and it will start, because in the chair role, I have that permission. Yeah, okay, so I see Rashad has another question. In terms of slides, sharing content or slides, it is, it's up to the chairs to work out how they would like in terms of sharing materials during a session. And you can think of it as, I think, the same options being available as in person, where you can share from the shared desktop, that is the chair's system, or you can switch the cables, as it were, by handing over screen sharing to the presenter. Yeah. So, is there a way for a chair to enter the queue to make a comment without hats? Well, in the queue itself, you'll see, and I see Al's sending audio at the moment. There's no distinguishing between in terms of there's no hat thing to control. So I think comments made as non-chair will have to be prefaced by a comment that you're making the comment as not a chair. I think that's how it'd be handled.
And for some reason, Greg, it's Al. I didn't ask for this send audio immediate. and it left me in that mode after I was removed from the queue, I guess.
Ah, okay. I haven't seen that before. I'm just going through. I see 2 questions about chaired sessions. So you can get into the session. I think the idea is to get into the session at least 15 minutes before. Another comment I should make here is that sessions will be closed 5 minutes after the end time of a session, because otherwise there will be collisions on the audio streams. So just to note that the sessions will definitely end shortly after the published end times. And as I also mentioned, one thing, the question about more testing from the chair perspective, we are trying to work out a sort of a standing session where people can join in the chair role to test things out that way. So hopefully we can send out a note about that tomorrow, which should give folks at least a few days to jump into the session, poke around in a chair role, see how things work from that perspective. So hopefully that'll help. Can you be in the queue more than once? I don't think that's possible. I think when you raise your hand to be in the queue, you're in the queue, and you can't double stack the queue. Just looking at the time, are there any more questions about queue management or anything about that? I think you all have been very, very thorough. We've explored things that I don't think we've explored in other sessions, so that's great. And again, we're also trying out the controls that have been updated based on feedback that that have been received in previous testing sessions, so that you're able to see those as well. Leslie, I see you in the queue. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I know we covered whether you can throw somebody out of the queue or refuse permission to somebody in the queue, but can you cut somebody off while they have the queue, while they have the microphone, rather?
Well, anytime if I understand your question correctly, I'm not sure that the answer may be yes or no. Now, let me say, depending on my interpretation of your question. So if I press that microphone with the X, your audio will be cut off immediately, but you will not be in the queue.
I think I get it.
Yeah. So if I cut you off, you're kicked out of the queue, or you're kicked out of you're not put in the queue. You're sent back to the participant list.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay. Karen, I see you want to send video. Do you really want to do that, or would you prefer to send audio, or both? Aha.
Oh, actually, I was wanting to share my screen just to.
Oh, share screen. Sorry. Yes, I apologize.
Did I hit the wrong button, or?
No, you hit the correct button. And of course, again, I've forgotten, but I do need to stop my screen sharing, and then I can allow you to share your screen.
I can't say I changed my mind.
You can do, but of course, or you can control yourself and stop. There's going to be some lag. I guess this is a good note. There will be some lag the first time a person shares their screen, or any time a person shares the screen, because they'll be prompted to choose which window to share. So,
right. So I don't see anything being shared, so I don't know.
Can you try? I don't see anything either. Can you try? And I don't see even an option for me to stop your screen. So could you try sending the screen again?
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So now you should be prompted to, I see in my presentation view.
Okay. So let me try a different selection here.
Yeah, Ron, I just want to caveat things that I started the day early and it's late in my time. So it may be just I'm a little bit tired. So not that it doesn't that doesn't negate your question, but
So I think I know what the problem is. I think Alex is probably about to tell me. So I will stop now.
okay.
It's that problem with I instead of using Chrome, I'm using Firefox, and I didn't set that setting that allows it to screen record.
Yeah.
And that's something
Yeah.
you need to manually do. And so
That's right. Yeah, in the documentation, it points out that if you're using Firefox or Chrome on Mac OS, then and the most recent version of Mac OS, then there is a system setting you need to make sure to set before you join the session. So.
And hopefully next time will be the third time, and I'll get it right then. So thank you.
Okay, great. I see Mahesh. Mahesh, did you want to share your video? Or sorry, share your screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. I'm just trying it out to see that it actually works. So here it goes. Do you guys see it?
Yes, I see it.
Okay. Well, that's all I wanted to check out. Thanks.
Fantastic. I can't wait to hear the presentation. Okay. So I know I'm going to take one more glance at chat, and there's one thing that I wanted to yeah, and I see the request to open early. Just real quickly, catching up on chat, but then I want to go into the the experimental hum tool. There's a setting in macOS, the latest version of macOS, that you need to tick, and it's in the Mitaco documentation to allow Firefox or Chrome to share screens. So you can do that. You can take a look at the documentation. Very straightforward once you figure out what you need to do. And as Bron mentions, it's a clash of the audio streams is the thing that's driving when sessions are open and when they close. But again, we definitely will have some way for chairs to test drive the chair role. So great. I'm going to jump over to the virtual. Sorry, I keep calling it virtual. The experimental hum tool, and I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what my view is. One thing while I'm doing that, I wanted to say is that just as I understand is actually not unusual in in-person meetings. It's often good to do a test hum so that participants can get a sense of what the process is like before you do an actual hum. And the other thing I want to say is that this hum, that this demonstration is really focused on the mechanics of doing the hum, the specification to which the tool is built. I think it was shared on the Many Couches email list, and and again, this is experimental, so it can or cannot be used depending on chair preference. So with that, you should be able to see my screen from the chair view of the hum, and if you click on that bar graph looking thing in the tabbed windows part, you'll get the participant view, which I think is not so much different. The basic format or the basic process is that the chair should ask a hum question. And I'm a little intimidated because I haven't done that very much, but I've been practicing, so hopefully it's getting better. And then you'll click the start button, and then participants will be prompted to participate in the hum. And the participants will have the option to either hum loudly or hum softly. If they choose neither of those, or they don't choose either of them, then that'll be considered not humming at all. And then after 35 seconds, the results of the hum, again, according to the algorithm, based on participant responses, will be calculated and displayed in this scale, with the quietest being at the top and the loudest being at the bottom. And the thing I wanted to say here about that is niente doesn't mean no hum. It just means a very, very low hum. So I am going to take one more glance at the chat. And okay, great. So I am going to ask a question, and then I will ask, it'll be a two-part hum. So the first part of the hum will be, if you prefer chocolate ice cream over all other flavors of ice cream, please hum now. And I'll click on the start button, as you see. And you'll see that a chair is not allowed to participate in the hum. So however many chairs there are, the chairs are not allowed to participate. But participants should now be prompted to either hum loudly or hum softly. And they also have the option to not choose either. And then after 35 seconds has elapsed, then you'll see the results. So we just have a few more seconds left. Yeah. Oh, excellent. So this is very interesting. You seem to have a fairly strong preference for chocolate ice cream over all other flavors of ice cream. But to test this, so the results of this hum are forte. But to test this, I'd like to take the second part of the hum, which is if you prefer some other flavor of ice cream other than chocolate, some flavor of ice cream other than chocolate over chocolate ice cream, please hum now. And so now I'll start another hum. And the thing about the results is that just like in person, the results of a hum are sort of ephemeral, but it is expected that the Jabber scribe might record the hum in the Jabber room, just as would happen in an in-person meeting. Yes, that's right. Good point. Yes. So again, part of the specification is not to try and write out what the hum is being taken on, but rather that just as an in-person meeting, it would be spoken. But if a chair has a hum that they would like to have written out, then it's possible to display that on a slide, as Alyssa mentioned. So I see some requests to share media, which is great. I will hop to those. I just wanted to point out here that this is the result of the last hum. It's the same result, but it's only of the last hum. And what I'm thinking is that that we just have a lot of people who really like ice cream, no matter what flavor. So maybe we need to think about the question a little bit more deeply. So that's the hum. Yeah, and in past sessions, Ron has recorded the results of the hum in the Jabber room. But yeah. Okay, let me get to the. I see AC would like to send audio. Please, AC, go ahead.
Yeah, since we got Forte for both hums, it seems that the measurement of the hum isn't relative to all the participants, but only those that responded. So it seems like it's flawed.
Yeah, so I think this is. I think that's a question that goes to the algorithm behind the specification of the hum tool itself. And I don't have the link to the draft where that's spelled out handy, but again, it's I think if you search the data tracker on hum, it comes up as a draft that by Martin Duke. So
well,
yeah,
maybe you should have a no hum option, not hum softly, hum loudly, and no hum. Then it would have a better. Then you'd get all the people who cared. Then you'd have a better algorithm.
Well, again, yeah, that's for sure something that would be taken up on I think it's on the Many Couches email list. So yeah, that's sort of out of scope. That's definitely out of my scope and sort of out of the scope of this demo.
The other suggestion I had last week was that you be able to cancel your hum once you had started it. Once you've made your decision, you are stuck with your decision. It does say, "Are you sure?" But once you're sure, you're stuck with it for the whole 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, right. You can't stop humming in the middle. So that is true. Okay, I don't see anybody else in the queue.
Sorry, I'm not sure I captured the last comment by Bronze. The tool is actually supposed to ask you for a confirmation when you hum. Is this not happening?
You do not unconsent. You can't say I don't. Well, it does, and it pops up in a different part of the screen that you have to then mouse across to. But once you have said yes, I'm sure, you can't change your mind again. So you can't stop humming during the hum time. You lock in your choice, and it's locked in.
Okay, so you're asking for a second confirmation. So are you sure? Are you really sure? And then are you really, really sure about your choice?
No, I am not. What I'm asking for is that you select a button on the hum screen, and then that button is on, but you can turn it back off again. Same way that I can ask to share my screen and then unask, and then ask, and then unask. During the 30 seconds, I click my hum is one of these options, and then I unclick it to unhum, or choose between the radio options for what my final hum will be at the end, rather than the confirmation, because the confirmation doesn't.
Yeah,
I think I get to describe what I mean with you. It's like I don't want to click it and then go click something over the other side of the screen to say yes, that's really what I mean. I want to click it and then go, actually no, that's not what I meant, and click the other thing.
Okay. I have a feeling that this is a question about the specification, mostly. I get the point about.
It's more about the UX. The specification calculates what my final vote goes into, but the UX is the experience as a user to change my mind partway through and go, oh, that's not what I meant to click, and a confirmation isn't the same as just changing it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But I think that this confirmation and ability to is actually included in the specification. So I'm not intimately familiar with the specification, and for sure. But I take a note of your point, and we'll go take another look at the specification. So I just wanted to know, we're at the top of the hour, and that is sort of all the scheduled time that we have about for this session, or at least what this session was scheduled for. I want to thank everybody who came. I know people who are joining us at very odd hours, so thank you for that. And if you have to leave, totally understand it. As Alessandro mentioned, we're going to be sending out an email in about 12 hours or so with some more details, again, to the video that Minako have made, to the updated documentation, and with information about how you can test out chair role in a Minako session before your actual session at IETF 108 next week. So hopefully that will provide some additional help for folks who are chairing roles or chairing sessions, and have productive meetings. So I'm going to just take one last glance, and then I see 2 people requesting to send audio. So I'm going to accept those and say, please go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, I was just going to say that if we're going to throw out some comments, since Alex is listening, I was thinking, I don't like hums, I like raising hands, but in either case, you have a feedback in an in-person meeting, right? People can hear, and it can, there's a feedback to response, and, you can actually see the dynamic sometimes in your room, right? Where people will look around, like when I call for a raise of hands, you'll see everyone's head turning, right? And then sort of half raised hands will become fully raised hands when they see who's supporting it, right? Now, that might be a feature or a bug to some people, but I do see it as a feature because it's helping me as a chair get rough consensus, right? There might be people that were like, but then they look around and they see the expert they really trust, and their hand goes up, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
it's just the UX, so the way to do that here would be, instead of waiting to show the results at the end, you would have a live display of what the hum level was, right? And then, like Brong said, have a way to just select whatever you're humming at that moment.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'd really encourage you to join the Mini Couches discussion because that's that kind of feedback will help inform how the tool appears in terms of the specification, because that's definitely something that I know is that those kinds of issues were discussed as the specification was being developed. So that would be great feedback to give to the authors or the author of the humming spec. So
yeah, and John Scudder, that's why I'm not sure if it's a bug or a feature. I see it as a feature though. Okay, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Karen, you're sending audio. Did you want to jump in and say something?
I was going to jump in briefly. I was just going to say, I mentioned it in chat, but we are looking, the Working Group Chairs Forum, we are looking to have a follow-up call a couple of weeks from now to discuss the Working Group Chair experience during this meeting. And so that would be a good time for some of this feedback.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for that. Mahesh, I see you in the queue. Please go ahead.
So as most people are saying, thank you, Greg, for walking us through this session. I'm sure it's educational for all of us. So the question I had was, I guess the chair's mic is always on during the session. And is there any way to mute myself as a chair to make sure there's no background noise?
For sure. In fact, the chair's mic is not always on. You can see in my shared screen, if you can see that, it's possible for me to stop sending my audio, which I'll do.
Oh, okay.
You can see that my background turns green. So if you're a chair in a session, in your own window, you'll see yourself up here, and you'll get that indication of audio control based on the color of your background, and also, of course, in sending media. And the same thing I can do is stop my video as well. I'll get these icons correctly labeled, and then I can stop my screen sharing.
Okay.
That's a good question. So you can definitely control all of your media as a chair, including your audio. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Oh, fantastic. Great. I'm going to take one last glance at chat. I don't see anything new there. We are past our time, or scheduled time anyway. I'm happy to answer any of the questions if people have them, but again, I just wanted to say thanks for joining. Thanks for asking really good questions, and for helping to uncover lots of corner cases. Please do stay tuned next 12 hours or so for some email to the working group chairs, and I think the IRSG list for research group chairs with more info. So thanks a bunch, and I'll see you all at IETF 108. Good night. Goodbye.
Thanks.